future Nigeria in which no one is left behind, in which growth is not only competitive but also inclusive and sustainable, and in which we as the giant of Africa, will lead the way in terms of innovation, industrialization, human capital, and in the continent and also beyond. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I want to once again welcome you to the Nigeria Economic Summit number 25, the 25th anniversary of the NES, and wish you very, very successful deliberations. And also thanks His Excellency the President for making time out to come here today. Thank you very much, please.
Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to very quickly also welcome here the Chairman of the APC, Comrade Adams Oshomole, who just arrived in our midst. I welcome you, Your Excellency. Thank you very much. We are discussing 31 years from now, what is Nigeria's 2050 scenario. Some of us have delivered it like the chairman of the NESG in very beautiful prose, the Honorable Minister with hard facts and numbers. But we also have other formats that can begin to look at the future, and that's poetry. Amina Iro is here. She'll deliver it.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Amina Iro. I'm a Nigerian-American poet, and I'm honored to be home here today to perform a poem for you all. If home is a country, how then to move the ocean? Torrential and proud, just enough for the coast of my kin to meet the coast where I grew, to become one shore of saltwater translations. What to do with the border? Pick up the outline and snap it open like a wire, dig a stake in the ground and throw the other end to you, squeeze the land together to create a blank map for the first time in a long time. Where would you choose? Or choose to be like, with the whole world in view? If home is a country, how would you define a people? Count until the end of your numbers and then start the future there. Can you imagine? If I build a house here today, will you still be my neighbor? Will you help me till the land, level and even for the next of us, so that they may have a place to call their own and roots to tend? Will you help me ready the shore for a wave that carries justice like a new language? Generation rising, we need only to listen. If youth are the future, then future soon come. Harmattan blows swift and strong. New air lay crisp in our lungs. What a wonder it must be to learn the world while wielding the power to change it. For everything to be an education, to be amazed and jaw-dropped and gobsmacked more often than not. To see the wounds that men have carved into the earth and want fiercely to be the South. If home is a country, then we know that each person is a pillar at their very own height. And we know that a building cannot stand tall without its foundation. So why not learn in the classroom and the community? Why not education and employment be the standard? Why not women and girls to the forefront? Why not more people, more for all? If my voice and your voice call for the same thing, booming across the skyline from city to village brush, then are we not a people? Is this not our country too? There is no place I have been that did not know well of Nigeria. From Brooklyn to Cape Town, Cambridge to Toronto, they know of the pride that we wear like an armor and the hurt that lies just beneath it. My people, it is time to rebuild, to fortify the nation 59 years strong and usher in the sweet songs and drum beats of 60 and 70 and 80, knowing that we did our part to lay the bricks even and smooth, to insulate the walls with knowledge and the means to obtain it, that we built this house big enough for more people and more for all. If home is a country, then surely they will hear us celebrate all over the globe and share in our riches based not in coin, but in care and compassion for one another, a land of leaders, trusted and fair, who will pass the torch without burning the hand, and unite a people and forge a home, a country for all. Thank you.
That was indeed a very powerful poem we see there. We have the finance minister giving a speech earlier, talking about the economy, and I'm just really, I can't wait to see what comes out of the 25th Nigerian Economic Summit.
I mean, it's always been the case with Nigeria Economic Summit Group. I mean, they have very robust conversations about national development and the economy. In general, the finance minister did come in there, to speak at the opening of this. And this is coming at the wake of many things happening. I mean, I think it was a business newspaper in this country that put out a report recently, was complaining about how much the federal government was borrowing, 4.4 trillion now from the CBN and the likes, that the economy and other monetary policies as regards to CBN, the loan to deposit ratio that is there, the non-performing loans, the NPLs that are way over, going to the trillions now. So it's a very uncertain economic climate for Nigeria. We're just wriggling out of, it pretty much reminds you of 93 to 98 period, where Nigeria had to find its footing, after negative growth to coming back to about 4%. And that's what Nigeria is going through once again.
And tepid growth indeed that we're recording. Well, it's a two-day summit. The theme is Nigeria 2050, shifting gears. Now,
all right, moving on to Kogi and Bayelsa State gubernatorial elections, isn't it? One is happening on the 2nd of November, the other one's happening on the 16th. I think Bayelsa comes first. They're able to take place at the end of this year, to begin to gather momentum. But the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has been accused by the SDB flag bearer in Kogi State, Natasha Akpoti, of unlawful disqualification from the race. The Bayelsa gubernatorial race seems to be evenly matched, with INEC confirming the next governorship election in Bayelsa will hold on November 2nd this year.
While political parties and their candidates engage in the rigors of electioneering campaigns and wooing of eligible voters in both states, the electoral umpire INEC is crossing the T's and dotting the I's to ensure a credible process.
Joining us now from our Abuja studio is Mr. Rotimi Oyekanmi, Chief Press Secretary to the Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Welcome to the show, sir. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so my first question to you is this. Now, we have Natasha Akpoti, who is a very heavy contender, has been making the rounds over the past few weeks, and saying that the INEC as a group does not have the power to disqualify a candidate according to the Constitution. How would you respond to that?
Thank you very much. INEC did not disqualify any candidate, because we don't deal with candidates. We deal with political parties. Recall that as far back as May 16 this year, the Commission released the timetable and schedule of activities for both Kogi and Bayelsa, and the timelines were there for everybody to see. Therefore, all political parties interested had between then and 9th of September to submit the list of nominations and the particulars of their candidates, which was done, and we acted accordingly. But what happened in the case of that particular political party and a few others was that they submitted the names of those who were not qualified on account of age, because the law says that you have to be 35 years old to contest for governor or deputy governor. And when we harvested all the applications and all the nominations, we discovered that quite a number of candidates, political parties rather, in both states submitted the list of candidates that were underage. So that invalidates their nominations. So we wrote to them to say that because of the fact that you nominated so and so, you are no longer, your application is not valid. And let me also say this. We are actually supposed to prosecute an erring political party in that respect, because you are required to swear to an affidavit saying that your candidate is qualified in all ramifications, which was what they did. So there is a case of perjury against them.
But
now, if you didn't submit...
Okay. There's provision for the candidates to... There's a window there for her to actually go back and replace the candidates if they don't meet that age restriction. And we're also aware of other cases where we've had people that are younger than the age of 35 scale through, and the response from INEC is they were overwhelmed. So isn't this a case of double entendre? But before you answer that, we're going to go on a quick break and we'll continue this. Stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show. We're still joined in our Abuja studio by Mr. Rotimi Oyekanmi, the Chief Press Secretary to the Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Sir, before the break, I was asking you mentioned that it was perjury for a candidate or for the party to submit a candidate who's less than 35. However, there is provision within the Constitution for a window, if that error is made, for the candidate to go ahead and change that candidate. Isn't that double entendre?
There is no provision in any constitution that says that somebody that commits perjury should be given another chance. I'm not sure you understand the gravity of what has happened in this case, you know. The gravity of what these political parties did. It was not only that political party, the SDP, that was disqualified in terms of, you know, saying that their nominations were not valid. Rather, there were 8 of them. And let me also tell you, the same SDP submitted the list of underage candidates for Bayelsa. But my surprise is that they are not even talking about Bayelsa. They are talking about Kogi. Look, they are making it to seem like we are against the candidate. Let me tell you, nothing will please INEC more than to have more female candidates come out to contest and be voted for any elective office whatsoever. But in this case, where the law is concerned, we must not break the law. The truth is that if you swear to an affidavit, check it in the Constitution, and what you are giving is false, and you are taking up on that, it's a very serious offense. And that's what we are saying. Now, if you did that and you submit an application and we are now telling you that it is invalid in a very diplomatic way, you cannot come back and say that you want to replace. And the window for the replacement so far, check our timetable and schedule of activity. It is 9th of September. So it is not having anything against the candidate. There were 8 political parties. So are they saying that, okay, if we overlook their own, we should overlook the 7? Okay, or what are they saying?
Let's just go straight to this. One of their arguments, the argument of Natasha Akpoti, is that if you check 2015 elections, there were a lot of underage candidates, and this was allowed to scale through. And it was also alleged, and that's why I said it was alleged, that INEC said, oh, we'll allow this to scale through, but afterwards, we'll start putting our foot to the ground. And also, let's look at the case of Bayelsa. What's your reaction to that? Why is there a standard for 2015 and a standard for 2019?
My dear brother, my dear brother, I will answer that question, but let me also pose this question. If you steal gold and you are not arrested because of one reason or the other, is that an excuse for you to go and steal gold again? Oh, so because some people that were underage were able to scale through in one election, is that the reason why we should now continue to allow it? So what happened, it is true, we take responsibility for that, but after that, we wrote to all political parties to tell them that henceforth, including the SDP, henceforth, we are not going to accept underage candidates. You know, we had 91 political parties that were on the ballot that registered as of 2019, out of which 73 contested for presidential election, right? And there were so many things involved. It is true, some of them scaled through, but we discovered and we said, henceforth, this is what's going to happen, and this is what we are applying. But what should be of immense interest to all Nigerians is that a political party that wants to field a candidate for position of governor, what do they take that position for? If you want to be governor of a state and you cannot so much read the requirements, what is required of you, what the law says, you cannot read correctly. You are saying that they admitted that they were not well informed. How can that be? You know, it's like taking the senior certificate examination and the question says, answer question 1 and 3 other questions. You now answer question 2 and 3 other questions. You've missed the meat of the mark. You've not obeyed instructions. What we are saying is, look, we don't have to be emotional about this. If there are rules, let them comply with the rules. The other political parties that didn't have any problem, check the number of political parties that are going to contest. They didn't have any issue. It's just unfortunate, but we cannot help this matter.
Okay, Mr. Oyekanmi, these off-season elections are coming months after the last general election, which was faulted by several international and local observers as lacking in transparency and, also having systemic failures. Are there any fundamental changes INEC would be bringing to bear in the Kogi and Bayelsa State elections? And again, just to add to that, these two states are often than not always experiencing violence during elections. What are the plans this time around to secure lives and property while ensuring that the security operatives do not undermine the process like they have done in the last election?
Now, you have asked 3 questions in one, and let me quickly answer the first one. Well, yes, there were some organizations that said that the election had some issues, but it's not all of them that said that. But let me also say this. All those that have gone to the tribunals challenging the validity of all the results, from presidential to the governorship, no tribunal has upturned or nullified the election we have conducted. And what does that tell you? All the governorship elections, maybe at the last count, about 6 or 7 so far, that the aggrieved parties went to the tribunal. The tribunals have confirmed that the elections were valid, they were okay, they were free and fair. Presidential election, the same thing. So you can then put that side by side with those who said, the elections were not free, they were not fair. We are not saying the elections were perfect. That is one. 2, concerning the preparations for Kogi and Bayelsa, recall that in 2015, we had the concerns about violence, the concerns are genuine. We didn't have a good experience in both states in 2015. And because of that, we have made special arrangements with the security agencies. Consultations have been wide, and it's still ongoing on how to forestall what happened. And a lot of studies have been carried out, and all those, especially the police, the lead agency that is required to provide a safe environment, is in the know, collaborating with us. And more importantly, we are consulting with stakeholders in the states. And even in the states, again, the state government, especially in Bayelsa, they have undertaken to, go through some processes and involve stakeholders to ensure that they have a violence-free election. So we are quite concerned, not just for our staff, not just for our ad hoc staff, but also for the voters, because if violence breaks out, there is no way to identify who is who. So that is ongoing, and we are trying as much as possible to ensure that people are carried along. We have stepped up our voter education enlightenment programs. Just a week ago in Niger Delta University, we launched a program, the Campus Initiative, that we had this collaboration with known musicians. Timi Dakolo was there, and a couple of other popular Nollywood stars to appeal to university students to help us, keep the peace while the election, because it's not really, no election is worth the life of a human being.
Okay. Real quickly, I just want to know more about this logistical plans, for this election. You're having one on the 2nd, having another one on the 16th. And I'm asking this because security logistics, for instance, I remember Osun off-season elections like this a couple of years ago, where they had to deploy over 30,000 police officers there. What is the logistical plan as regards this and security?
No, we are not having one on the 2nd, on the 16th. Both elections are going to hold simultaneously on the 16th of November.
Okay. So
we are holding both Bayelsa and Kogi on the same date. Right. So, for Bayelsa, the requirements are different from Kogi because half of Bayelsa, or even more than half, are right on the waters. And learning from the experiences, we are taking proactive actions. In the first place, all non-sensitive materials have been delivered in both states, right? The electoral officers that will man all the local government, all the polling units and voting points have been trained and retrained. The other officers, the ad hoc staff, are undergoing training. And we are checking with our facilities how our stores will be, the smart card readers we are going to use, and all of that. We have made uncollected cards available between 2nd of September and 30th. And I've not checked the rate of collection, but we understand that quite a number of people have turned up. And for the period, we even pasted the photographs and the details. Some details on our website.
Because of time, we'll rest the conversation here. One thing is certain, we'll still have you leading up to the elections, to be able to tell us how logistically prepared you are. Thanks so much for this. Really appreciate you, sir, for your time. All right, that brings us to the end of the show today. It's been a great one.
Indeed. I'm Adesuwa Moran.
Rufai Yosini.
And I'm Shaiton Atigari. Thank you for watching. We'll be heading back to Abuja now for the Economic Summit.